Now, when you see reinforcing written here, I'm referring to the role of the adult in reinforcing and scaffolding social behaviour, and not reinforcing, which is a term commonly used in behaviourism. So what we're referring to here is simply the adult's responsibility to support and to model social behaviour. Relying on developmental theory takes the guesswork out of practice. It leaves us with a confident self-efficacy and a very personal and professional esteem in our field. This comes from understanding the complex process of cognitive development in the early years, and it also helps us to remain very much in the back seat when social and emotional pathways are forming in the brain. Because a lot of reducing the behaviours we don't want to see and increasing the behaviours we do want to see at the same time comes from coaching and suggesting. If we want children to demonstrate the behaviours which we wish to teach them, such as sharing, turn-taking, waiting your turn, and empathy, then we must model these behaviours first, particularly empathy, regardless of what kind of day we, the adults, are actually having. That's where your care energy and professional love are utilised to the full. That's when you can revert back to your developmental knowledge and your developmental theory and have confidence in your practice.
Aistear, as we mentioned in the beginning, the preschool curriculum, quite a broad remit, huge, brings in a lot of social and emotional learning and a lot of cognitive and language development, which is key to language and literacy success at school. And again, we're back now to developmental theory and Piaget, our good old friend. We see thinking limited by stages of maturity, object permanence, whereby children will throw something onto the ground and not have an understanding that even though it's out of sight, that it still exists. And they'll continually do this over and over again until an equilibrium is found where that they know it does exist even though it fell. Again, we have conservation at this age, whereby we may slice a cake for a number of children, or even an apple. Let's keep it on a healthy footing. And we'll have little Johnny saying, well, I'm sorry, but hers is bigger than mine. And of course, to his eyes it is, because he doesn't understand conservation. He doesn't understand that it's maybe the glass is taller, or maybe the glass is fatter when we pour juice into them. And this is conservation. And again, we see it all the time in reversal, whereby if we have a situation where we go ahead and we prepare something for the child, and then they're very horrified that we might have cut their apple, or that we might have done something to their food. And a lot of practitioners struggle with that, but that is a simple outward sign of development, and we should be giving them the thumbs up for saying, well, you're on the right road there. We know exactly what stage you're at and what to expect from you and how we can lead you on. So Vygotsky, again, the socio-cultural scaffolding, the apprentice learner, and the influence of language, all of this is in our developmental theory, and we see this every day. And again, our lovely friend Erik Erikson and his psychosocial stages of development. And isn't it just exactly what we want? We want trust to create trust from birth to one. We want autonomy. We see it all the time in children when they get to that age, and the only word they want to say is no. They have plenty more, but that's the only one they want to use. And that's fine. We love when we see that. When we see that, we give the thumbs up and we say, you are on the right track. And if, as childcare practitioners, we understand, again, back to developmental theory, then yeah, we can say that. We can see exactly where you are, we know exactly where we're at, and we know exactly where we're going with you. And again, from age 3 to 6, initiative. I'll do it myself. Now, how many of you have heard that before? It's all part of your day. And also, let's not forget Albert Bandura. He gave us modelling and imitating, and we see that every single day in all the interactions. And that's our cue to support those interactions and to make sure that we're providing activities which support imitation. Maybe even the smallest thing like pretend telephones, so that children can imitate mum or dad on the phone and pretend that they are them. We see these golden moments every single day, and if we have a good sound knowledge of our developmental theory, we know exactly where the children are in terms of development. So within a sociocultural theory of learning, we know that children will construct their own learning, and we also know that that cannot be separated from the social setting. And then the social setting can't be separated from learning, and from learning that cannot be separated from language. So essentially theory plays a central role in all practice. The main theories that we would be looking at for our practice would be constructivism, whereby we have a co-construction of knowledge. It's a process. It means that we can adapt the curriculum to address the child's knowledge. It means that we have joint goals and joint objectives. It's no more the old role model of teacher giving the child the information, as in information flowing downwards. Now we have a two-way horizontal line where information flows back and forth and back and forth. So what this does is this emphasizes that activities must have meaningful learning, that it has to be real, it has to have real world activities. Maria Montessori was a fantastic advocate of real life experiences where the children would use real nails and real saws, and fair play to her, she had it right. We need to give children meaningful learning so that they understand how to use these tools, not just in tools, but that they have real application in the real world, that they mean something. Partly, I would like to see an eradication of everything plastic, because it serves absolutely no meaningful learning to children. But that's just a side away from the side. So constructivism is a process whereby we create deeper understanding, and it's also a great tool for helping you assess exactly where your child is at in terms of learning. Aistear and constructivism hand in hand. Again, Aistear is a social, emotional, linguistic and cognitive curriculum. It promotes positive self-concepts, that children are capable learners, that they're curious learners, that they can learn. The old Irish model used to be that information was drummed into us and you learned by rote. And if the curriculum didn't suit you, or if you were falling behind, well, tough, because the teacher was very quickly moving on and you had to catch up as quick as you possibly could. Nowadays we have a more open view on how learning and how the brain actually accepts knowledge. We know that children learn from doing real life hands-on experiences, that learning has to have meaning for that, and that we know we can adapt our curriculum if we have a child who needs a little bit of extra support. So what we want is confident learners. Again, we want them to be ready to move on to the next stage, having mastered the last stage, so that we know that they've already had that and they're ready to move on. The professional confidence that you get from having your developmental theory firmly under your arm is in your Aistear book, giving you self-efficacy in what you practice. And again, modelling, empathy and pro-social behaviour will pull all these theories into perspective for you. So we're moving the emphasis from teaching to applying in a socio-cultural constructivism framework, which simply means that what we're doing is we're moving the emphasis from teaching to learning. And again, Aistear, with its co-construction, has a very rich language ethos, because a lot of emphasis is placed on language. Vygotsky had a huge love of the ability for the brain to interpret language, and to create language for learning. Piaget took a different view. He saw that language was simply an expression of thinking. And again, we can take what we want, or we can take many samples of the developmental theory to form our own theories. So play and observations, explorations and conversations and collaborations between children and adults give us a socio-cultural framework to work within. And again, we're back to child-initiated activities and hands-on experience, and adults who teach and role model empathy.